Hey guys, this is my reteacher project. I'm going to be sharing with you guys some facts about women's discrimination in the workplace. Here are some facts on women's inequalities in the workplace. These facts that follow focus mostly on the corporate realm. Women are less likely than men to be hired into entry level roles, and they are less likely than men to be promoted to managerial status. In 2018, for every 100 men who received their first promotion to manager in 2018, 79 women were promoted. This year, just 81 women were. Because of this broken rung in the corporate ladder, men significantly outnumber women at the manager level, making it incredibly difficult for companies to support sustained progress at more senior levels. This phenomenon is even worse for women of color, who represent only 7% of current C suite positions, just a 4 percentage point increase since 2017. Compared with 6 years ago, Asian, Black, and Latino women are more likely in 2024 to perceive their race as an obstacle to advancement. Now, here's a little history on women's inequality in the workforce. In the early 20th century, most women in the United States did not work outside the home, and those who did were primarily young and unmarried. At that time, the Census Bureau then categorized labor force participation outside the home as gainful workers. 20% of women fit into this category during that time, and only 5% of those married were categorized as such. African American women were about twice as likely to participate in the labor force as were white women at the time, largely because they were more likely to remain in the labor force after marriage. I think that's probably because of the wage gap, disparity, racism, all that kind of things. Despite the widespread sentiment against women, particularly married women, working outside the home and with the limited opportunities available to them, women did enter the labor force in greater numbers over this period, with participation rates reaching nearly 50% for single women by 1930 and nearly 12% for married women. This rise suggests that while the incentive was still there for women to drop out of the labor market at marriage when they could rely on their husband's income. These years also overlapped with what most would call the first wave of the women's movement, when women came together to advocate for change on a variety of social issues, including suffrage and temperance, and which resulted in the passing of the 19th Amendment in 1920, giving women the right to vote. So, upon hearing all of that, I'm going to ask some people that I know in my life their experiences on being discriminated in the workforce. Here I have my roommate, Bella.
Hi.
I'm going to be asking you, how have you experienced discrimination in the workplace as a woman?
So I work in like a little cubicle office, and I've noticed that my supervisors tend to talk more positively to my male coworkers, and
Yeah.
it's more like standoffish and like sassy towards me. And
Hmm.
I just kind of noticed the behavior change. Like if we get distracted, because that does happen,
Hmm.
like if I get too invested in like a conversation that I'm having within the office, I'm kind of yelled at, and then as
We
whereas
don't like
like
that.
it's just a mere comment to a man that's working
Yeah.
there, and it doesn't make me feel super appreciated and loved in the workplace.
Yeah.
um, and it also makes me feel like a target, and it makes me feel very small.
Yeah.
And I know I'm not small.
True.
I have potential, and I need a work environment that will lift me up.
Yeah.
So
I agree with all of that.
yeah,
Thank you so much for
of
sharing.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very nice speaking with you,
Yeah, you as
my
well.
roommate Rochelle.
Yeah, you too.
Slay.
This is my roommate.
Kira.
Like what? Wait, what?
Hi, I'm Kira.
I'm gonna be asking you, how have you faced discrimination in the workplace as a woman?
So there's been like a couple instances, but I can think of one in particular
Okay.
when one of the like higher up people at my job, he was just very condescending to me. Like when there was an issue with one of the students, and it was like a very minor kind of basic issue that would be in education.
Yeah.
And he like was like looking at me like, well, maybe like you should do this. And it was some like small thing that was like, okay, really? Like I do that? Like that's known. You don't need to act like I don't know how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, he acted like I didn't know anything,
Yeah.
which also I think was ageist.
Yeah, that's a real problem too in the workforce. I've experienced that as well. Well, thank you so much for sharing.
Yes.
Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Hello, my name is Cheyenne.
I'm gonna be asking you, how have you been discriminated against as a woman in the workplace?
Okay. So I was speaking with Rochelle a little bit before this, and I have never been excluded from any type of opportunity in the workplace because I was a woman or am a woman.
Was? She was a woman.
I am a woman. However, when I was working at a golf course as a beverage cart, certainly a lot of men make a lot of really interesting comments at you.
Yeah.
Yeah, about like wanting to marry you or just like
Oh.
nasty other things that are just not very wholesome and pure. And so that's interesting. But and the fact that like people think that that's just like part of the job, like no, that shouldn't be normal.
Yeah.
And also, once my manager had me placed me in charge of banquet serving this wedding that we were working while he was gone. And my male coworkers weren't listening to me, like even though I was placed in charge at the time.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
we don't love that.
No, we don't. Yeah.
Well,
Perfect.
yeah. Well, thank you for sharing.
Of course, this was fun.
Yeah. Now that you've heard what they have to say, let me share with you some experiences I've had being discriminated against in the workforce. In the summer of 2023, I worked on this golf course in Montana, very wealthy, lots of rich people go there. And I was in the outside crew. And that was a very male dominated position. It was me and literally three other girls that I knew, and we bonded because it was literally just the three of us. And so that was fun, like bonding with them, but also just like being in such a male dominated position. And also, like, going into this position, I didn't really know a lot about golf. And so sometimes I felt like talked down to, or that, like, oh, you don't know what you're doing because you're a woman. Like, obviously, yes, I don't know anything about golf, but like, teach me because I'm in this position. And so, yeah, I just felt like almost like cast out. And like, sometimes managers would prefer the men to do certain things, like, because simply they were men, and like, they may have played golf, but like, I don't know. So that's one example of me, like, facing discrimination in the workplace. Thank you so much for listening to me share some facts about women's discrimination in the workplace. If you have had any experience being discriminated against in the workplace, please put them down in the comments below. Share this video. And yeah, thank you so much for watching.